Namaskaram and welcome to Malayalam FM 104.6's No English? No English with your host Roji Verghese. Today we discuss public speaking. Did you know that the fear or the phobia associated with public speaking is called glossophobia? Most people fear public speaking more than heights and spiders. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you would use this fear and turn it into intent. It doesn't matter whether you're teaching in a classroom, standing in a hall and giving a speech, pitching in a meeting. I hope by the end of this episode, you will leave with a playbook and therefore become confident and strong speakers. Let's press on. Here's the plan. We first work on your mind. What's the mentality we need to have before we start delivering a speech? Then we work on your voice. After that, we look at the way in which you structure your content. And finally, body language. Let's talk about mentality. Every public speaker in the world feels slightly nervous before they start. It's quite common. Anxiety and excitement are cousins, like love and madness, bravery and stupidity. Let the audience decide. There are plenty of reasons why people feel a bit nervous or anxious. Number one, and the most common that I have seen, is that people tend to overdraft their speeches. Too many points. They want to remember every tidbit of what they've written. And therefore, when they forget one, they freeze. It's that anxiety. It's that, will I remember every one of them? You've got to realize and understand this. Your audience does not know the number of points that you have written, does not know the order in which it is written. Therefore, you are the master of your own content. When you stand there, all they do is listen to you. In case you forget a part or you freeze, go back to the previous point and say, well, let's clarify what I've said before. Remember, try not to overdraft, because if you overdraft, there's a chance or a probability that you might freeze. That's number one. Number two is the idea of perfection, the paralysis caused by the idea of perfection when you speak. A good speech or an effective speech, well, to be honest, can't be determined by you. It's the audience. And every audience that you talk to, speak to, behave in a different way. Therefore, we can't run behind perfection. But what you can do is assign micro goals to your speech. For example, you could say, today I'm going to have 3 deliberate pauses when I speak, or I'm going to add humor to my speech, or I'm going to have 3 well-positioned transitions or sentence connectors. Set specific micro goals which will take away the idea of perfection. And that's the second part. Finally, and the most important that I believe, is when we tend to speak for a longer time. Remember, this is not natural. Therefore, just like any activity in the world, this too requires warm-ups. You need vocal drills that helps you to warm up your vocal instruments before you speak. Now, how does that help in mentality? Because you tend to feel tired when speaking for a while. Vocal drills usually would be a lip drill, a tongue drill, for example, the lip trill is a lip trill. Reading tongue twisters, excellent as part of your vocal warm-ups. So, in order to feel relaxed, the 3 things: 1, take away the idea of perfections, set a micro goal. 2, do not overdraft. That tends to us speakers freezing. Do not tend to overdraft. Have, let's say, aim towards naturality. To be natural, and therefore you become unique in the way you speak. And then Do set up some vocal warm-ups before you get on stage or before you do any sort of public speaking. Now let's talk about your voice. Your voice carries the meaning of your words. Your voice is something that you can work on. And when you're working on your voice, which means you're reading your content, these are the things I want you to be thinking about. 1. Modulation. What are the words or phrases that you would like to enunciate or stress because you deem those ideas to be important? Cadence. The pace at which you speak. Sometimes you've got to slow down when you speak, and sometimes you may have to speak faster. The tone. Is your speech humorous? Is your speech persuasive or argumentative? Is your speech informative? Are you teaching? And that's the tone that you need to have. Let me give you an example. I'm going to read this particular line in a monotone or robotic. I'm thrilled to share one idea that can change your next presentation. I'm going to do that once more. I am thrilled to share one idea that can change your next presentation. And now I'm going to work my voice, use modulation, cadence, and also pause between any part of the sentence or a part of the sentence that I feel is important. Notice. I'm thrilled to share one idea that can change your next presentation. I'm going to repeat that again. I'm thrilled to share one idea that can change your next presentation. So if you heard that or noticed, I stressed on the word thrilled. I slowed down on one idea. I grouped that can change. I put them together and I paused before your next presentation. In fact, I paused after the word change. Notice again, I'm thrilled to share one idea that can change your next presentation. For me, I stressed on the word or enunciated the word thrilled because I believe it's my emotion that I need to show my audience. I slowed down on one idea because I'm trying to tell the audience that there's only one idea that I would love to share. And then finally, the most important direction that I can give is change your next presentation, which is why I paused after the word change. This is what you need to do when you get your content. Underline key phrases or words that you need to enunciate. Mark the areas where you need to deliver the dramatic or the deliberate pause. Practice the cadence and the pace at which you need to speak. Thereby, you will learn to work your voice. Some of the problems that happen here is you tend to repeat a particular point because you sense the audience and you realize, okay, the audience may not understand or the audience may find a particular point difficult. For that, all you have to do is don't repeat it too many times. And if you do, use simple synonyms. Number 1, very simple synonyms. 2, try to avoid using jargon. Now, what has that got to do with voice? Isn't that more to do with language? And I'll tell you why. When you use jargon, it sometimes interrupts the natural way in the way you speak. Now, some of you, if you are well versed with using jargon, make sure that it's embedded well with your natural pace of speech. From what I have seen, sometimes jargon tends to interrupt your pace. So if you're using jargon, make sure that's embedded well. 2, use power verbs, which means use simple and short, concrete words instead of large multisyllabic ones, unless you want to emphasize on them. And obviously, the one that I said before, which is use single synonyms, simple and single synonyms. That way, it does not interrupt the way you speak. Remember, the way you speak is your natural voice. Let's work with that. The next part of your public speech is how do you structure your content in a way that enables you to deliver your speech better. Step 1, create a logic of your own when you write down all your ideas. You can create a storyboard. The logic has to be unique and to you. And how do you know that your logic makes sense or is successful? You are able to remember the next idea. If you intend to cram all your ideas and there is nothing that nothing connects your ideas, you will forget and you will freeze. So please remember, create that cohesiveness between your ideas by understanding or creating a logic that is unique to you. Once you're done with that, my second suggestion is to use signpost language or transitional words. If you go online and you put list of sentence connectors or signpost language or transitional words, you would get a huge list. Now, what that does, for example, if you had to show a balance between ideas, you will use words like on the other hand, like showing the other side. If you had to show contrast, you use words like however, even though, although. You want to add an idea, you use words like moreover. Depending on the type of content and where you wish to navigate or take your audience through your ideas, where you wish to do that, that's what transitional words or signpost language will help. You have a logic and you are taking your audience through that logic, therefore please use signpost language. As you write your content down, it is my very strong suggestion that you need to script word for word your introduction and your conclusion. The two most powerful parts of your presentation, of your speech or presentation. One catches the audience, the others think about it as you let them go. They make you think, the beginning and the end. When you start with your presentation, when you start with speaking, I always say start with something that's practical. Start with something that makes it personal. Start with something that you can connect with the audience. And I believe that if any topic in the world, there's always something that you can connect to your audience. Make it simple. And in the end, let them go with a call to action. Let them go with a thought that will help them to think about what you've been trying to explain or tell or address. So remember, a well-written, scripted introduction or a start and a conclusion, a start and the end. So, 3 important parts. Number 1, arrange your ideas in such a manner that the logic is your own. Create a roadmap. There should be a logic or you will freeze. 2, use of transitional words or signpost language that will help the audience navigate your logic and your content, making it easy for them to remember your ideas. And finally, script your introduction, script your conclusion. Creates a powerful effect when you speak. And finally, body language. 3 areas of your body that you need to be wary about: your feet, your hands, and your eyes. Your feet, your hand, and your eyes. Now, if you are standing and delivering your speech, make sure that your feet is not close together, not far apart, in a comfortable position. Make sure that you're standing well. Now, most of the time I've seen speakers who pace up and down a lot. Now, if you pace up and down, if you walk up and down the stage and you're talking, remember, then you're asking our audience to look at you and they may turn out to be pigeons watching a tennis match. Don't do that. It's okay to walk up and down the stage. It's okay to take short steps. Go slow. So you can walk, pause, walk again, pause. Now, in doing that, again, focus on the fact that you only walk in between your points. You don't walk between sentences. If there is a point, if there's something that you like to hammer in home, then what do is you stand and you talk. It's always good to walk a little bit, but not long. You don't traverse up and down the stage, you walk a little bit. Pause, step, smile, and talk. Remember, walking is all right. Standing is better. But remember, if you're standing, it's okay to stand behind a pulpit, you're placing your hands there, and you're talking. If you do want to talk, you hold the mic in your hand. You do want to walk, that's okay, but short steps. And remember, you never give important points mid-sentences. You never walk mid-sentence, sorry. All right, from there, you move on to your hands. Hands, the most important and seen part of your body, apart from your face. See, the problem with hands is people tend to over-gesture. I mean, that's the first thing they will do. They tend to open it wide. And therefore, hands tend to cover up space more than deliver meaning. In my suggestion, I say, depending on the intensity and the value of your topic, short ideas, small ideas, directions, one hand is enough. Bigger the idea, talk about it. Use deliberate hand gestures. Now, of course, I don't want you to script your hand gestures, but make sure it comes naturally. There should be a reason why you're using your hand. This needs to be practiced. How do you use your hand when you speak? I prefer using a pulpit. If I can keep my hand there and I can use it in that manner, thereby enabling me to enunciate or talk using a tone. So I like to use my hand that way. When I'm standing, I always hold the microphone in one hand, therefore it's always my left hand, or I'll use my left hand and I'll use my right hand if I'm a right-hander, because if right-handers can use their right, left-handers can use their left, and then you use your hand. So when you use your hand, you're enunciating. Remember, your hand does not cover up space, it underlines an idea. You're telling the audience you're talking something important. And then we come to your eyes, your face. Remember, ideally, you need to look at everyone in the audience. You never look at one person, glare at them. I feel a bit weird. Ideally, look at them for 2-3 seconds, smile, talk. Move to the center, smile, talk. Move to the people at the back, smile and talk. Raise your head a little bit. Move to the left, move to the right. You are a nervous speaker. Don't even look at people. Look at the walls on the left, wall above, wall to the right. But remember, you do need to look and cover the entire audience. Your eyes speak for itself. And when you do, people realize that you're actually having a conversation or you're actually talking to them, rather than transfixing your gaze onto one person. If you have notes, make it a point to have a quick glance at your notes and remember, look up. Don't spend more than 3 to 4 seconds or even more than 5 seconds. I think 5 seconds is enough, but have a look at it, have a quick glance. Shorter the better, and then look back at the audience. Your feet, your hands, and your eyes. Remember, you're the one delivering the speech. You're the one standing there. You're the one holding the microphone. People are listening to you. Make sure you give them a good look, because then they'll have a good look at you. Ladies and gentlemen, let's recap what we have done. We have spoken about mentality, spoken about how to use our voice, structure our content, and finally, body language. Let me suggest an activity that you can do at home. 1. Choose a topic that you're very confident about. Write it down in bullet points. Use the logic that I've discussed, at the beginning, that we have discussed about. Use transitional or signpost language where necessary. Deliver your speech. Make sure that you record yourself for just 1 minute. Once you're done with all that, doesn't matter if it's 2 or 3 takes. Remember, not more than a minute. Once you're done with that, make sure that you only listen to yourself first. Thereby, you can understand what to do or how to improve your voice. You'll understand your modulation, your cadence, and your tone. Once you're done with that, shut off the volume and watch yourself, and therefore you will be able to focus on your body language. For those of you who wish to improve in meetings, because it's some sort of a public speaking when you do that, remember, you are the master of your content. You know what the agenda is going to be. I'm sorry, there's no other way other than practice. Because when you practice, you're choosing the words in which you would like to deliver your content. And as you do that on a regular basis, you will eventually get confident about it. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, there are people around you who understand that you have a plethora of ideas that are so good they just want to listen to you. And the only way you can make it interesting is by using your voice. Like in the great movie, or in a good movie called The King's Speech, you, ladies and gentlemen, have a voice, and therefore use it wisely. I'll see you next episode. Namaskaram.